What's going on, man?
Well, you know, bro,
How much?
just discovered a chicken we didn't get last night. You want a chicken?
Oh, a murderous chicken?
No, she's not murdered. She's one of our 4-month-olds. We missed her. We had someone came over last night and get the rest of the chickens. We obviously missed her.
I don't have any way to take care of a chicken.
That's okay. They're actually really easy to take care of. Much easier than a dog or a cat, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway. Whoa, damn dog. Colin's going crazy in here.
I don't know.
My dog's
Broil
insane.
it up, man. Chicken's under glass.
Yeah. Well, hey, I see that you liked my status. White Dayton does White Dayton.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Being of a waspy nature.
Yeah. Well, here's
no offense, Audra.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like my one token black man. Well, I do know the straw boss too.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know him?
No, but I'm used to being the one token. It's all right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm a token
That's
Appalachian.
Awesome. Token Appalachian.
Yeah, I'm a token Appalachian for
a lot of people glommed onto you over in Trotwood. Huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, it was years back, probably like 15 years ago. I got invited to do a lecture up at Emerson College in Boston.
Nice.
I think I was telling you about that, yeah. And everyone, I went to a couple like real Harvard parties over on Cambridge Square, and everyone was just like gathered around, like asking me to talk over and over, you know. 'Cause I'm saying witty stuff, but they never heard a mountain accent except like something like on Jerry Springer or whatever. And so, they thought I was exotic. I played it to the hilt. I totally played it to the hilt for like tons of free drinks. And
nice.
It was great, man. I was playing Jethro Bodine meets Noam Chomsky. Totally to the hilt. Yeah. It's
like
sold.
Like Ron White.
Yeah, well, it's sold in Cambridge.
I bet it did.
Totally. They were just, oh my God, this is great. To say that again.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, certainly have another drink. I'll say that again.
You were a flavor of the night.
Yes, I was the flavor of the night. It was nice for the flavor of the night, but that'll wear you out after a while. You can only do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, those guys in Connecticut and Massachusetts are so whitewashed that like any little bit of flavor is interesting to them.
Yeah. Well,
you would not believe how well I did as a 19-year-old kid among American University law students in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wowing the whole crowd.
People, they're like, he's got a little of that. You had a little bit of that funk town flavor.
I guess so.
Which brings me to my topic. White Dayton does White Dayton. Now, I think I'm going to be the person that's going to speak up on this. And I'm not looking to... call anyone out personally, because I don't think that makes any sense or gets anything done. But we have a huge cultural separation in this town when it comes to like music events.
No way.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's amazing.
What do you think is the ideal?
The ideal?
Yeah. If you're recording this, you're going to get like all kinds of Zelda special effects in the background, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. My kids are playing Zelda.
That's okay. No, my ideal. Obviously, I don't have some kind of a perfect ideal.
I mean, is it gotta be Oreo cookie Dalmatian? I don't know, like a mix of yin and yang all the time. Like
no, of course not. Not all the time, but at the same time, we have like these festivals, there's certain festivals in town which claim to be Dayton festivals or representative of Dayton, and usually what I see is they're very representative of the white indie punk rock of the past kind of crowd.
Okay, well, I mean, like they have the Celtic Festival and they have the Folk Festival, which is kind of like a spin-off of what we had here as the National.
Yeah.
Funded by, I would assume, Whit Mead.
Perhaps.
If you've never met him, he's an interesting guy. He's like sort of single-handedly made bluegrass occur here in the Midwest. I mean, he spent a lot of his Mead paper money on bluegrass. And he brings good acts. I mean, he brings the talent. So
sure.
That's good. And a really fascinating guy. But, I don't know, man. I mean, like, I used to go to... what was it? I used to go to that one festival at I'm not remembering the name of it, and I don't want to get the name wrong, but the one they have at the fairgrounds with like the
Cringe Fest or the
No. I never went
X
to like the
Fest.
indie rock stuff. Or the loud rock and roll festivals. I went to I bought my drum there. It was an African American.
Okay, it was the African American Festival, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that down on Riverscape now.
Yeah, because
that was really cool.
I actually have a kind of an affinity for. I've been looking for a piece of brass wire art that you can only find there because it's made in Senegal.
Yeah.
And typically they have a couple of people who bring a couple of pieces. It's hard, you have to look and dig, but, I've always liked their brass art for some reason. I don't know why that is, but, is it quaint of me to collect African art, at my late and poor stage of life? I have no idea. I don't know what the perfect homogeny is.
Okay, well here's my idea of the perfect homogeny. And it's certainly not perfect homogeny, admittedly up front. But when anyone, I guess, was going to do something that they claim to be representative of the community, right? It needs to be somewhat representative of the community, or it should be held up to things like ridicule and criticism.
Okay.
Like just for example, Dayton is about 50% African American. Am I correct?
I don't know the statistics. The censor would give you some idea, maybe.
Well, the censor might not let us know.
What I mean. Census, sorry.
Yeah. No, but I think that's close to the last census. It's about a 50-50 split.
Yeah, and I've always heard I've heard a lot of people mutter that Dayton is one of the most accidentally segregated towns. I mean, but we had this discussion the other day. There's more of a mix on the east side than there ever used to be.
Sure, I completely concur with that as well.
My buddy Seth's mom lived over on Delaware. Her grandmother lived on Delaware. She died, but I think she was like the only white person on Delaware.
Yeah.
So, obviously there's pockets that are more densely one race or another.
And I see, and so should not our cultural offerings reflect what the culture is doing itself?
Well,
like you say, the east side. And so I'm getting back to my perfect hegemony. I guess it would be like a chocolate and vanilla ice cream swirl from Dairy Queen, where we lovingly embrace each other's cultures, and that's not to say there's no place.
I think that honestly, I think it's a really a person by person situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are some definite people on the no offense to the Appalachians, but I think there's some people on the Appalachian side that would never consider it ever giving up their racist, stubbornness.
Sure,
is the only thing I would call it. Except when they have to interact at a work level.
But
what's funny is that those guys usually end up bonding with somebody who's of a different race,
sure,
tightly, just so that they can make those jokes and feel comfortable about it.
And as well, the children of kind of maybe the archetype you're talking about, at least of the East Side Appalachian kids, have pretty much warmly embraced hip-hop culture.
Oh, yeah.
You see it all over the place, white boys with, all the hip-hop trappings.
Insane Clown Posse.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, the Insane Clown Posse put a face to that, I guess.
They don't die!
But, yeah, so what I'm saying is, while there should be room for, obviously all kinds of subculture or subgenres or anything like that, I'm not trying to really cut out or cut on some of these things.
Well,
but
I think you have to look at the pieces that you have, and then I I posted this thing yesterday, and I think it stands to reason a lot that, Ron Paul has been accused of being a racist, and that's typical excuse mongering from his political enemies because he's from Texas.
Yes.
And that might be an easy label to stick on him, being from Texas. But, he says that it is completely antithetical to a libertarian to be racist. You should watch that CNN thing with Wolf Blitzer. I posted it on my wall.
Okay.
Because he says libertarians do not see class. They do not see... They see individuals and the strength of individuals and the rights of individuals.
Sure.
And they don't say we need to force balance one way or the other. I mean, this is the great experiment of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, is that we tried this effort to say culturally we should just eradicate our differences or embrace them to some better degree.
How about celebrate them?
Celebrate them, sure. But
yeah.
the practice of that from a legal standpoint, the enforcement.
Oh no, I'm not.
Is the weirdest way to go about doing that.
It's I would totally agree with it. What I'm speaking more of is just social pressure applied through free speech. Someone saying, "Hey, we don't have."
Well, I think if you take a cultural initiative to somehow encourage, get a few characters from the black community to kind of mock the uneasiness somehow, verbally, publicly, to let them know, hey, I mean, like this guy, like the story that I told you about me going to VFW with my lawyer friends. And DeFranco Allen, and who was kind of I don't know, he was a younger version of Dink, but and I wouldn't say that necessarily that he was all the Dink was or is, but anyway, he took us to VFW, and I was wearing a 3-piece suit, and this guy came up to me, and he was macking bandana, and he was looking really thuggy,
Yeah.
And I was standing up a little bit taller, I don't know what's going to happen, because this guy got right up in my face and started, sizing me up and everything. And then he just gave me a hug. And he was like, I had you for a minute, didn't I? And then he came and sat down with us, and we had a good time. But, I think DeFranco put him up to that. Look, this guy feels a little uneasy about being on the west side in a VFW. Give him a little bit of a scare, But
I mean, that's that's probably the last place I would worry about being on Earth, in a VFW.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, I've never, as sadly as it is, my parents moved us out of Oakwood so that we would be more culturally integrated by living in the Oregon District. But did the Oregon District become as blended a community as, maybe originally intended? No. No,
I mean, if you go to
However, living downtown, I did go to magnet schools for the first 3 years of my life, and I went to Longfellow for a year.
Okay.
On Salem Avenue. So yeah, I was in the mix of.
So getting back to the point, do we in Dayton? And like I said, I'm not trying to. I guess I'm just trying to point something out. We have all these. We have a lot of separatism, and I don't think I for one certainly don't think it's good for community. Yes, we have neighborhoods integrating naturally. And that's probably happening most on the east side of town, although it's certainly not exclusive. So shouldn't we have something like the Dayton Swirl Festival, where where the graphic logo representing the festival is vanilla and chocolate ice cream, and we have a variety. Some could argue that that's kind of city folks, what they're doing. Not completely, they're kind of doing that on an NPR scale.
Well, but I mean, if you come up with some cultural icon that says, hey, this is a blended festival, isn't that going to signal to the people who don't want to do that there's going to be black people there or there's going to be white people there?
Well, if you don't want to do that, then you don't have to come.
But that's kind of how it is already.
Well, yeah, but I don't know.
I mean, if you're talking about the natural integration of things,
yeah.
What is? I mean, what can you do to insist that maybe people step out of their own comfort zone a little bit and result in having a good time?
Swirl Festival.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. I don't think you can.
Seriously, guys.
The government. I don't think the government can necessarily. Certainly not legislate that happen. That you guys must have an integrated music festival with racially diverse booking. Well, of course not. So I guess what I'm just suggesting is doing exactly what I'm talking about doing. Let's have a really cool Dayton-centric music festival down on Riverfest where we have like rock acts and a Latin act followed by maybe a hip hop act or a funk, all that bouillabaisse, those flavors that we are.
Well, they used to do this. They definitely used to do this at the convention center. I was a part of it when I was in second grade. It was like the World Affair.
Yeah, they still do the World Affair, I believe.
Yeah, but not to the degree. I mean, but in a sense, like a more modern take on that. Not necessarily like get the guys dressed up in the sombreros and get the you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like have it be like what the culture is today. Like there's a couple people in Dayton that are building some really wicked cool lowrider bikes. Like there's definitely a whole statch of the population that's. That's rebuilding really cool cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's and on both sides of the equation in that sense, because there's people that are dropping low profile 20s or 24s, and there's people that are doing really sick muscle cars.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? I mean, why not start there? Because this is a motor town originally. I mean, essentially it is. It's a transportation town.
Yeah, we're crazy about cars around here. We worship them. That is, I think, the automobile is our true God and Jesus in America. It's the
common denominator is that, you get some of these people that are like, and not only that, but like, I guarantee you, if you get some of the guys that throw airbags in their cars and some of the guys that have muscle cars together, they're going to find some common ground. And those guys are going to say, like, hey, I really like how you did this paint job. What's the secret on that? Or, hey, I really like how you did those wheels. What's the secret on that?
Cut it out!
Yeah, really.
Fucking dogs are going crazy.
And then we should have, like, a human-dog kind of thing.
Yeah, well, dogs... so all I'm saying is we need to get together more, all of us people. From all... if you don't like that...
that you could get the people together on cars.
Well, then we put cars and culture.
Or transportation, because there's a lot of that going on in Dayton. I mean, you see a lot of people with tricked out cars. Now, some of those people maybe don't want to be public about showing off their car.
Well, then, there's a guy who's got like he's probably like a 70s or like maybe like mid-80s Chevy in town, the Lucky Charms mobile. You ever seen the Lucky Charms? It's got like it's got a Lucky Charms cereal box, like really cool. Somebody did a really cool job painting it. And he's got the big rims and looks like he's got some low riding material in it. He's out on the weekends. Sure, bring those guys, all of them. If they're not, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to be public with this. I'm like, please, come on. You want to be, obviously you have a car like that, you're driving around town, you're not, well, you're not trying to keep a low profile.
My dad, Bob Musain, my dad's buddy, Bob Musain, who used to be his partner at the Night Owl, he always said that you could sell any car in the world for $9,999 because you don't have to declare it federally. Cash. Right? And he said that's one of the, and I'm not trying to say that this is like a racial thing, but one of the things that happens with drug dealers and people who are in the drug culture is that they spend more money on their cars because it's a way to show their wealth but not declare it.
Yeah.
And so they peacock a little bit. you know, in that sense. Like and that's, I mean, culturally, it's not just for drug dealers; it's also for peacocking, because that's what people do. That, I mean, and I'm not trying to make fun of him at all, but the guy across the street from me, I'm not saying anything about his life. I don't know much about his life actually, but he has a Chevy pickup truck. It's a fairly good size, like 250 or 350 pickup truck. It has every like AutoZone accessory that you can buy for a Chevy. Like it has the flame chrome grill attachment and like everything you can, little tiny knick-knacky stuff for the little corner windows, but it's all knick-knacky. It's not like he's put like custom barrel step boards on the sides or anything. It's all like, you know, Pete, nickel and dime, and he takes a lot of pride in that truck. You know. So, but I mean, you know, so it's at every level. There's people that have tried to, you know, trim themselves out in a way that says I'm a little bit different, or I'm, you know, and I think that kind of individuality should be celebrated. And I think you're absolutely right. You know. Yeah.
So we definitely got we've got a lot of these pieces of the puzzle, and you know, if you're the kind of person that only wants to go to I only go to reggae festivals. You know, I don't go anything that's not a reggae festival. And if it's not reggae, well, of course, you're not going to be able to attract that person with hardly anything. You know, maybe a little reggae, and they can catch the end and the beginning of the next act or something. But I don't think you should, you know.
Fine. I'll have some bagels.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you start. You know, I mean, a jazz festival would certainly be a blended way to go.
You already got that kind of. You know, I would think, you know, being inclusive of a lot of stuff, but at the same time, kind of avoid having, you know, blocks of the same thing. So now's the time for the, Latin bands, you know, or this or that, instead of just really mixing it, you know, swirling it together.
We'd really love for all you white people to come up here to the front so you can experience this.
Oh, that's a whole nother subject into itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why white people are the way they are. You funny, strange creatures.
What?
That exhibit the some of the strange behaviors that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You ever seen that blog stuff white people like?
No, but
it's really funny.
Know, I noticed that the people of Walmart feature white people a lot.
Oh yeah,
that they're very bizarre. Mm-hmm. In fact, I almost think it's like a subculture to dress a certain way to go to Walmart. I'm really starting to think that's gonna they're gonna champion the oddity.
Well, I think that would be great. Like if you went to Walmart and there was like someone dressed as Darth Vader. Or
they do that. They do that kind of stuff. There's definitely like a mid-intelligentsia culture that pushes the issue. Like, I mean, that gets involved in the issue and tries to do setup kind of pictures. Mm-hmm. But did you see that thing? Oh, you don't have television, but there was an article on TV last night on PBS about what's going on with the economic consumerism in America. Mm-hmm. Like, it is right now at a point where if you're not Lucky Jeans and you're not getting trimmed up to the cream of the crop, you're going to go under unless you start selling basement bargain jeans. Mm-hmm. Like, essentially, there's no central casting for consumerism. So, and so like people like Liz Claiborne, they said we were supporting 230 different brands, and that they said if we hadn't cut our brands down to like 30 or 40 or whatever the number was, I don't remember the numbers, but if they hadn't done that, they would have headed on into bankruptcy because there's no longer enough support. So you're either selling it to what they were calling essentially the Ferrari Porsche class. Yeah. Or you're selling to the dollar stores. and the Walmarts of the world.
And speaking of dollar stores and Walmarts, have you been up? You probably haven't. It's up near the old Salem Mall, where that Walmart went out of business, and they built a big Walmart, like across the street or up the road a little bit.
Yeah.
In the parking lot of the old Walmart, they sold part of the parking lot and built a Dollar Tree. And so, as your background, you have this closed down Walmart as the backdrop for a brand new Dollar Tree. And I just thought that that's perfect right there. That sums up exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, well, and what's crazy is that, what I think would be interesting is to shoot the same reel of film and drive from the Salem Mall to the Dayton Mall.
Oh, yeah.
And just like drive through East David, Mad River Road, out Alex Bell to Centerville, and then take a right on 725, and just drive down through that, just like bustling consumerism. It's just it's a throng of people up there.
Yeah.
It's like everybody down here in Dayton goes, "Oh, Dayton's dead. It's dying. My house is falling apart. Blah blah blah. I'm going to lose my mortgage." And up there, it's like, I live in
margaritas at the Green.
Yeah.
Let's fall down the stairs. Isn't it like, what's that place? Adobe Gillis, where everyone
everybody dies on the stairs.
Yeah, I mean there's a perfect metaphor for the consumeristic consumption of our times.
I had a friend of mine, managed a cave in upstate New York, and on his cave tour, he used to tell people that every time an Indian burial ground, this is like an old Indian curse, every time an Indian burial ground got disturbed, a Walmart would string up in its place. That was the curse on Americans, was that like anytime they disturbed Indian burial ground, like they would get a Walmart in its
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, every city where there's a Walmart, the downtown is closed.
Well, and that's partially due to urban sprawl and white flight and all kinds of things. So
everyone's talking about bringing downtown back. Don't they need to figure out a way to destroy Walmart and Target before that happens? Or at least downtown business, any kind of retail other than like little temporary pop-up shops, which, they're nice, I guess, but, it's economically, it's kind of like token economics.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody shops downtown anymore.
Yeah, they've got a couple little gift stores, but generally
you can't afford to. I mean, that's why that's why in our neighborhood, Graf Hardware went out of business because Lowe's and Home Depot and everything. You could buy your lumber and all of your little nuts and bolts. And so like that one-stop shopping kind of attitude is what.
Yeah. So isn't it just isn't anybody really talking about bringing downtown vitality back to where we have a lot of healthy retail? Isn't it just like lost word until like the Home Depots and Lowe's and Walmarts and Targets of the world? Until they fail and their just-in-time distribution channels fail. Isn't all of it just? But that's never going to
fail. I mean, it might fail if
You don't think that?
No, the supply chain stuff. I really think the supply chain stuff. It's interesting because, we just dipped below $3 a gallon.
Now we're back up.
Now we're back. Yeah, it went from
$3.30 or something like
$2.99 to $3.39 in one day. I'm like, what tragedy occurred?
Nothing.
And so everybody goes like, oh, I got to rush out and get gas, and they say, I'll wait till tomorrow. And then, bam, now they need gas, and they're going to get slammed with a 40-cent tax. That stuff is crazy. That is a real indication of the instability of what's going on. But I notice when the consumer prices go down, the trucking prices go up. And so they pass that buck on to you by bumping up retail prices.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a supply and demand function, obviously, I mean, this is like stating the obvious, but like, there's a supply and demand scaling of prices, and they no matter what happens, they're always passing it on to the consumer.
Yeah.
I mean, they pass profit loss margins onto the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what is really the big problem that's been happening with the world now, is that they have been exceedingly greedy in their profit loss margin growth margin,
mm-hmm.
to the tune of 10 or 30,000 times what they have been in the last 20 years.
Yeah, also.
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, everybody was kind of growing the same, and now executive bonuses are, outrageous. Really outrageous. Phone.
Yeah, so you don't see.
I don't know. I mean, like,
you don't see Walmart and Target ever in our lifetime seeing any kind of fall of that whole.
I mean, I don't see how. I mean, what's going to stop them?
Peak oil. That seems to be the only really obvious.
It depends on what you believe about oil.
That's true, but I think that would be the only thing.
There are two stories about oil. You know this, right? Like, there's more oil in the shale than there ever was in the ground. But that's one way. That's the we're going to charge a lot of expensive money.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality that I have heard, which I think, and I don't know whether it's reality or not, but I've heard the story several different ways, several times. And I'm not saying that confirms it to be true or not, but I'm throwing it out there. Why is oil created? How is it created? They say it's like rainforests that have been buried over or something, right? It's like carbon collection, and then putrefied, liquefied.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So why is it 5 miles under the ocean? And how long ago did it really get there? If it's 5 miles under the ocean, you're talking way before the Cretaceous or Jurassic.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking way before, the oil-producing, carbon-based life forms were existing on the planet.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to believe? That some, giant plume of algae, got submerged, subducted, and then buried, encapsulated in a dense area? Okay, so if you think about that, if you think about where they're finding oil and how deep they're finding oil, it's all over the place. It doesn't have anything to do with the fossil record.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it have to do with?
I don't know. What are the schools of thoughts?
Well, the other option is that carbon-based oil is... right? I mean, it's based on carbons. It's a liquid form of carbon destruction.
Yeah.
Is formed at the Earth's crust, at the underside of the Earth's crust, where the lava meets the road,
mm-hmm.
essentially, and that it seeps its way up through the Earth from that place.
Yeah.
So, in order to get to the oil, you have to find these places where it has seeped up through the cracks of the Earth, the
mm-hmm.
cracks in the crust, right?
Yeah.
And that it always will be there. Like, for instance, if there is a channel for it to continue to rub, that is a healthy place for it to continue to always be. Mm-hmm. So this comes from a story of a preacher that was working the camps in Alaska. And I can't remember his name right now, but he's written a whole series of books about it. A couple of books anyway, I don't know if it's a series. But, they closed down this one oil field. And then 15, 20 years later, they went back and that oil field was full again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that, there was this knowledge that there's never going to be no oil.
Mm-hmm.
And that this whole notion of peak oil and drastic supply and demand is going to get strung out for hundreds, if not thousands of years, depending on how long it takes people to recognize the fact that these guys have claimed that it's going to run out of oil, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Those peak oil guys that talked at the
a lot of them are selling books, and apocalyptic scenarios.
Yeah, the peak oil
sell well.
The peak oil guys base their assumptions on the number of oil fields that the United States is drilling and petitioning to be built,
mm-hmm.
and the number of oil refineries that have been petitioned to be built
mm-hmm.
in the United States. Maybe that's not the game that we're playing. Maybe we're playing a game of buying our refined oil from somewhere else, or we don't need to have larger refineries because our supply is not outstripping our demand. There's a lot of other reasons why we wouldn't be building more refineries.
Yeah.
The growth of oil meets the growth of population explosion. There are a lot of scenarios, but one is going to show itself to be the truth, and the other one is going to show itself to be either the subducted truth or the to be fallacious. So I don't really know,
Yeah.
but I will say that it's going to be a long way down the road,
mm-hmm.
and that people who are prognosticating the fall of the giant box store are going to be sitting on their hands for a long time. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Could be, Americans don't seem to be, there is like the fringe kind of Yellow Springs. It's a minority who wants to go back to the main street, but I don't see a whole lot of cry from the public, to end Walmart and the Chinese goods. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, for what it is, if you put Ron Paul in office or Donald Trump, those things would turn around.
Yeah.
But the people who are interested in not having that happen are really fighting tooth and nail to not have those two people get into that place where they have the right to change it.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. I don't think that we're quite ready to take a flyer on Ron Paul yet. I don't think the country is really ready, but they are really fed up.
Yeah,
and I think so throwing a new kind of monkey up there would be a very interesting thing. Somebody who's savvy enough to already understand how it works, and somebody who's constitutionally savvy enough to understand how to flex their muscle if they need to. And I don't think we've had somebody in power that really understands that process. I don't know. Obama just got. This is really the confidence that he has is that, he got those guys to sign the tax cut renewal or the tax break renewal on the middle class. But my first thought is, what did he give up? Because they were not budging, walking out of Congress. And then the next day, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, yeah, we pony it up.
Yeah.
So what did he sacrifice, and what was not spoken about in that deal? And what wasn't publicized, I guess, is what did the media bury?
Yeah.
In order to make that happen.
I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe. But can we agree that the Swirl Fest would be a good thing overall?
Hell yeah.
And if we incorporated cars. Awesome, yeah. I'll bring my black wife.
You bring your black wife?
Yes. I can give a seminar on interracial coupling. It's fun. It's easy.
It's sexy.
It's fun, it's easy, it's sexy. Everyone's doing it. Jump on the bandwagon. Make beautiful children that look like Lisa Bonet.
Yeah, she is cute.
Yeah. But everyone's... I
thought you guys weren't going to make children.
No, we're not. But we can definitely, give our thumbs up to those who are, doing that.
Angelina Jolie.
Well, whatever she's doing that, Locals.
She's like taking children from third world countries or something.
Oh, yeah. Well,
She's trying to rescue third world one person at a time.
She's on that Hollywood symbolism kick.
I guess.
Look at my misplaced goodness.
Yeah. This kid is going to be culturally stripped of all that they could have had.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, man, I'm getting ready to go. up to the dentist's office because I have a dull pain in my jaw for the last 2 days.
Father of children helps strangers hand out gift cards at Walmart. Not only paid off layaway bill at an Ohio Walmart, they also walked to the store and handed out $50 gift cards to help financial stress off those still searching for the perfect presents.
Yeah. Well, how about
at Walmart?
Yeah. How about doing that during the rest of the year?
Why don't you go down to 2nd Street Market and hand out gift cards?
Oh, God. That place is, I've got my critiques of it. I don't know about you.
I don't know.
It's, if you've been there like once.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you've walked down to one end and walked down to another end. There's not that really much of a reason to go. Maybe if you got someone in from town. But like if you go down to like the Finley Street Market in Cincinnati, there's a reason to go there. You know, they've got I guess one thing I think the 2nd Street Market is missing is more of like that, you know, butchers and cheese people. And more of a grocer type thing. It's a lot of you know, scented candles.
Oh, you mean like Dorothy Lane ought to have like a Whole Foods kind of thing down there?
What's that?
Like Dorothy Lane ought to have like a fresh foods kind of stand down there.
Yeah.
You know that's or, my parents' island that they live on. They used to have a greengrocer and a grocery store.
Yeah. So, but yeah, none of those things are really permanent down there either. Yeah, that's kind of a, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, my friends George and Persephone had a little shop down there. They were making food, really good food. You know, but they gave up the ghost on that one.
Yeah.
Now they're in a band called Ape the Ghost.
Ah, I've seen those guys. We had some of their music on DaytonInformer.com.
Yeah, the DVAC show.
Yeah. Yeah, you were in the parking lot.
That's right, I was chilling.
Yeah.
It's a good time. They're playing, I think, on the 19th of February is the next time they're playing.
Cool. I like those guys.
Yeah, they're fun. They just put down some stuff at the studio, so
cool.
We'll see. They'll have a new album out.
Stuff at the studio. People still go to a studio?
I don't know where they're recording.
Why would you do that, man? Get yourself a laptop, some software, and you know, a good sound card.
Yeah, I don't know where they're recording. I don't know what they're.
I use a USB mic for a lot of stuff I do. It's a snowball mic. Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Sounds really, really good.
Yeah, you have the little spring-loaded vibration eliminator thing too, right?
And that thing, yeah.
I like that snowball mic. I've been eyeing one of those. I just have
they're like
little,
$90.
I have this little $10 Genius mic. I have no idea what I sound like on the other end.
Well, you sound pretty good, but like for you know, I'm using like the built-in mic on the Mac right now. I'm not using the snowball, but it's really, really good. That's all I got to say. But
by the way, I really liked your piece on STEM.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. The principal really liked it, and we got a lot of good compliments on it.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it. I'm kind of bummed that you did that because I think it's going to be more competition for my kid to get into school this year because you're putting the word out. But I'm glad you're putting the word out because I want that program to grow. I think it's
well. That's our. We've decided we're going to be doing a lot more education coverage in the new year. Like seriously expanding that part of our whole thing. As Audra's out of school, we're gonna.
I think you could be the next Ted Turner.
What's that?
You could be the next Ted Turner.
I could be.
You start with your local TBS station, and then you grow yourself into a media empire.
Yeah, that's basically was kind of the game plan when we started out. Like we can do this in Dayton, we can do it anywhere.
Exactly.
And
nice.
But I have to go to the dentist because I'm in
pain. Go
get
your teeth worked on.
And it sucks.
Sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. I don't blame you personally.
No, I didn't do anything to your teeth.
Hey, before we go, do you endorse the Swirl Fest?
I like the idea, man. I'm behind it.
We have a Patterson on board. That means a lot in Dayton, man. Take it easy.
That and $3.25 to get you a cup of coffee.